let me go across to our legal correspondent, Kanu Sharda, who's right there at the Supreme Court. Kanu, this is a big development. As we see, the Supreme Court has termed electoral bonds as unconstitutional. This could come certainly as a big blow to political parties 2 months ahead of Lok Sabha elections. Break it down for us on how and why the Supreme Court thinks this is a violation of fundamental voters' rights.
Well, Nabila, yes, right before the general elections, this judgment from the Supreme Court comes as a huge setback, especially for the ruling party, because as per the ADR reports, that maximum funds through electoral bonds have been given to the ruling party in the past also. And this was also raised by the petitioners before the Supreme Court, that maximum donation from the electoral bonds goes only to the ruling party, whosoever it is. And only 1% goes to the other political parties. So this comes as a huge relief for the smaller political parties who are, who were aiming to get the benefit from the from such kind of donations. But yes, for the ruling parties who get maximum donation from the electoral bonds so far, this comes as a huge setback. Supreme Court has come down struck down the constitutional validity of the electoral bonds, saying that the right of information given to the donors is paramount, and it cannot be just kept it like this. Supreme Court has now directed the State Bank of India to furnish all the details of all the electoral bonds issued till date, which is today, and submit it to the Election Commission of India, which will then make every donation which is done so far from 2019 till 2024 on the website, so that all people can just go and see that whosoever has donated to whom. It is important to mention over here that the centre has vehemently opposed the submissions from the petitioners that the electoral bond is an opaque in nature, and they said that the electoral bonds was launched to curb the black money. But the Supreme Court today said that this can't be allowed like this, and this has to be struck down, because the right of information to a voter is paramount, and it has to be taken care of.
All right. Thanks very much. But Kanu, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Nalini, also joining us from the newsroom. Nalini, the electoral bonds that have been coming in since the year it was launched, 2018 to now, significant amount of money that political parties have earned. The biggest beneficiary here is the BJP. We believe that the SBI has earned a commission by just issuing these electoral bonds to the political parties of nearly 8 crores in the years. So banks making its money too.
Well, Nabila, the amount that has been donated in terms of electoral bonds runs into thousands of crores, and like Kanu just correctly pointed out, majority of which has been donated to the ruling party, which is the BJP at this point, which is why the centre was so vehemently arguing in defense of the electoral bond scheme throughout the hearing that was happening before the 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court. But none of those arguments seem to have held any ground before the 5-judge bench, because not only is it a unanimous verdict, but the judges have taken different reasonings, but still arrived at the same conclusion that electoral bond scheme is violative of a voter's right to know under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, and the voter's right to know is absolutely paramount. And heading up to the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, it's going to be a interesting thing to watch out for, exactly who the donors are who've contributed these thousands of rupees to the BJP, and also the other political parties who have been beneficiaries of the electoral bond scheme. It also remains to be seen how the government now plans to navigate through this, because the Supreme Court has left no window open for any sort of a relief for them. Even if they were to challenge this judgment in a review petition before the Supreme Court, it's going to be an uphill battle for them to show any error that is apparent on the face of record, on the basis of which a review should even be entertained by the Supreme Court. And without a review plea being entertained by the Supreme Court, there is going to be no option left for the government except for all of these details to be put out in the public domain. So of course the opposition is going to be watching out very keenly. This entire electoral bonds issue and the money that has been donated to the political parties is expected to be a massive flashpoint leading up to the 2024 Lok Sabha polls.
So, Nalini, it's how do you call this? Legalized corruption. That's the criticism there. Many anonymous donors that have come in through various corporates could have enough influence over the elections that are upcoming as well. This is what the Supreme Court has also observed.